Hi, it's GramMoose. Tonight we're going to read a story with our little reindeer friends, and it's called The Leprechaun Under the Bed. This one is illustrated by Paul Meisel and written by Teresa Bateman. The Leprechaun Under the Bed. Brian O'Shea enjoyed his privacy. A leprechaun can be alone without being lonely. He liked to say, indeed he would know, for he made a snug home beneath the ground in an out-of-the-way spot. But time went on. Big, tall human people moved nearer and nearer until one day a man named Sean McDonald started building a stone cottage right overhead. Brian tried leprechaun magic to stop Sean, but made Sean see headless ghosts and even a banshee rising from the foundation stones of his new cottage. Wouldn't that be scary? But his plan backfired. It was just like my sainted mother always told me, Sean declared with delight. The land of Ireland is full of magic and surprises. And all too soon a fine cottage stood over Brian's home, so he built a door under Sean's bed. I have a son named Sean. On moonlit nights, Brian would cobble outside. When it rained, he worked under Sean's bed, deliberately disturbing the man's sleep. Yet he didn't wish to be discovered. So if Sean moved, Brian would whisper, "Now don't you be fretting your wee little head. It's only the cat under your bed." Silly thing to say, huh? After a week of restless nights, Sean decided he had to know why he wasn't sleeping well. He went to bed as usual, but though his eyes were closed, his ears were open. At midnight, the tapping began, and Sean sat bolt upright. "Now don't you be fretting your wee little head. It's only the cat under your bed," he heard from below. "Ah, of course, the cat," Sean yawned, settling back under the covers. Then his eyes flew open. "I don't have a cat," he thought, "and even if I did, who ever heard of a talking cat?" So what was under the bed? The answer popped into his head. Sean smiled. His mother had always said that a leprechaun in the house was a fine piece of luck. Luck he couldn't afford to lose. The next morning, Sean made stir-about for breakfast and placed a bowl of it under the bed for the cat. At lunch, the bowl was empty, so he put in some stew. From that day on, every time he filled his own plate, he added a bit to the bowl under the bed. Sean was a hard-working man, but his small farm produced barely enough. Times grew hard. And the times grew hard and times grew harder, until there came a day when Sean went to bed with both his stomach and bowl empty. The next morning, a gold coin gleamed in the middle of the kitchen table. "What a blessing it is to have a cat in the house," he remarked out loud, before hurrying off to buy good food. They lived well for weeks on that coin, but soon the cupboard was bare again, and another gold coin appeared. "Consider this alone," Sean said, "until times are better. Thank you, cat." But when Sean went to buy his oatmeal and potatoes, there was more than one eyebrow raised in the village. A poor man might have saved one gold coin for hard times, but two? Gossip ran like water through fingers, and as it grew. Sean MacDonald must have a whole chest of gold coins hid in his cottage. When many tongues say, but be it true or not, many ears hear. 2 robbers caught wind of the tale and decided that no one deserved Sean's gossiped gold more than they did. One crisp, dry morning they hid outside, waiting for Sean to leave. Then they slipped into his cottage, tossed the cupboards and pried stones out of the fireplace. Such a clutter made Brian poke his head up from under the bed. He was shocked to see at what he saw, but what happened next was worse. The cottage door swung open as Sean returned for a forgotten tool. In no more time than it takes to tell, the robbers tied the poor man to a chair. "Tell us where you've hidden the gold," they bellowed, fearing for Sean's safety. Brian banged his hammer against the floor to catch the robbers' attention. Now, what's that?" one of the men asked, fearing for Brian's safety. Sean spoke quickly. "Now don't you be fretting your wee little head. It's only the cat under the bed." "Cat," the man replied. "Well, the bed's the only place we haven't looked." As Sean worried, Brian grinned. Both robbers stuck their heads under the bed, and there they saw exactly what Brian had told them. A cat! But that was a wild cat, eyes like lightning and claws like knives. The cat smiled at the robbers, then licked its lips as it found the sight of them tasty. With a shriek, the men tumbled backwards and fled out as if the devil himself were at their heels. Brian laughed till tears ran down his cheeks. Sean chuckled as well as he wiggled free from the rope. Then he stretched and bowed in the direction of his pillow. "'Tis a grand thing, indeed, having a cat beneath the bed," he declared. "Aye," replied a voice from below, "and it's a pleasure having a friend above it." And they lived well and happily for the rest of their lives. So if you hear the cat talking to you from under the bed, you better feed it. Good night.